The champion has a name, and it is Charles Oliveira. He makes his second successful defense of his lightweight world championship against Justin Gaethje and finishes him off in the first round by a rear naked choke, just like I predicted he would. With everything going on in the build up to this fight, a bunch of fighters backstage saying that the scales were off. Justin Gaethje makes weight. Charles Oliveira comes out to the scales. He thinks he's made weight. He hasn't made weight. He has his belt stripped away from him before the biggest fight arguably of his career against Justin Gaethje, a very bad style matchup, and he goes out there anyway, walks down Justin Gaethje, puts it on him, gets dropped twice. Before getting dropped, he rocked Justin Gaethje immediately into this fight. He has a mindset that cannot be contained. He is a savage. He is a Terminator. There's no nerves. He's a hitman. He is the Brazilian hitman. Genuinely. He walks down Justin Gaethje. Straight away, he's on Gaethje. Crazily, rocks Gaethje immediately with a big punch. Justin Gaethje and him, they get into a scrap back and forth. Oliveira goes for some knees to the body. Lands some really good ones there. A couple of shots in the clinch as well. Justin Gaethje lands his trademark uppercut. The one that he landed on Michael Chandler. It puts down Charles Oliveira badly. He's on his back, but the problem is with Charles Oliveira, and I said this in the build up to this fight, you can't follow him to the ground after you rock him. Most fighters are not going to risk doing that. They're going to let him back up, and that gives him time to recover. It gives him time to get back into the fight. You can't rush after him because you're going to run straight into a double leg takedown and end up on the ground where he's even more dangerous. This man has got it figured out in MMA. And that's what happened. He got back up. He got rocked again badly. And this second time he got rocked, I genuinely believe he could have stayed on his feet. But he chose, you know what? I've been hit by a big punch again by Justin Gaethje. I'm not fully recovered. I'm going to go to my back. Sinks back to his back again. Gives himself some time. 10 seconds of recovery. Back up to his feet again. And he's right back on Justin Gaethje. Landing big shots. Trading back and forth. There's no fear in this man. You've been dropped twice by Justin Gaethje. Big puncher in the lightweight division. Smells blood and goes for the finish. And he's back up. Walking down Justin Gaethje, looking for single collars in the clinch and blasting knees to the body. Those were some lethal knees to the body. He was landing big shots on Justin Gaethje upstairs as well. Rocked him a couple of times after that moment. Eventually, he rocked Justin Gaethje, and Gaethje was so rocked, he ended up trying to throw back at Charles Oliveira and fell off balance trying to throw at Charles Oliveira. He kept his defense very tight. He made sure he beat Justin Gaethje to the punches. More knees to the body. Jumping front kick to the face almost landed as well. He's got so many tools. Front teep to the body, front kick to the body. All of those body shots change the posture of his opponent so he can land those other shots around the guard, uppercuts through the guard, more knees to the body. I mean, he has a perfect style to succeed at MMA, and his heart cannot be questioned. He lands a beautiful right hand, straight down the pipe, straight right hand on the chin of Justin Gaethje, puts him down badly, knocks down Justin Gaethje. We've seen so many people hit Justin Gaethje with all they've got. They don't put him down like that. Oliveira you've got to rate the power of him now. The guy's got heat in his hands too. Like one punch knockout power in his hands. Putting away Chandler, a guy who Gaethje couldn't, was a big sign of that in the build-up for this fight for me. Lands the straight right hand, puts down Justin Gaethje, and immediately latches up a rear naked choke attempt. Gaethje manages to get his arm under one of the hooks of the back of Charles Oliveira, so Oliveira starts thinking about maybe turning it into an armbar, to which Gaethje reads and tries to escape and scramble, but you just don't escape and scramble against Charles Oliveira. He scrambles with you, finds the back, puts the hooks in, and it's just routine for him at this point. He's been around for so long. He's been doing jiu-jitsu for so long. The neck was secured before the hooks were secured. Genuinely. He has the arm under the neck before the back hooks are in, and it's over for Justin Gaethje. He tries to fight the choke, and he taps again. Now, I'm not the guy to pile on MMA fighters for tapping, but I will say this. Gaethje's got to stop with this quitting stuff for people, man. You tap. People don't tap in MMA. Like, you go out cold, and you just go out cold. Simple as. Nothing happens to you. You go out cold, the referee sees it, he stops the fight anyway. You tap. Like, a lot. Like, in both occasions that you've been shown a way to show if you're a quitter or not in those positions, you tap. And I don't know why he goes on it. Maybe it's like a insecurity thing, and that's what the Weasel made a video about in the build up to this fight week. He was saying how it seems like Gaethje is kind of like, sort of over-exaggerating the quitting stuff with Charles Oliveira, and maybe it's a thought in his own mind or something like that. But either way, Justin Gaethje taps out. Respect to Justin Gaethje. He's a killer. He always puts on amazing fights. It takes two to tango in these contests. But Charles Oliveira takes the second defense of his world championship. And I'll say this as well. I predicted this perfectly. I literally just said on my last minute detailed prediction video, Charles Oliveira is going to go out there, stick it right on Gaethje immediately with front kicks to the body, big shots upstairs as well, rock Gaethje, get into a scrap with him, get put down, recover. I'm saying this word for word as I said in my last minute detailed prediction. I said he goes out there, rocks Gaethje, okay? He gets him, knees with the single collar in the clinch, stuff like that, front kicks to the body, jumping front kick to the face, moves like that is what he's going to be going for. Then Justin Gaethje's going to put him down with a big shot while Charles Oliveira is not expecting it, off balance. He'll go down, he'll brush himself off, he'll get back up and resume to terminate Justin Gaethje on the feet. Justin Gaethje can't follow up with shots on the ground because Charles Oliveira's jiu-jitsu is too dangerous, so Oliveira will get back up and go for him on the feet. And I said he'd hurt Gaethje on the feet. And I said that Gaethje was going to overlook Oliveira, and Oliveira is going to be more dangerous on the feet than Gaethje expects. Then I said eventually they'll end up on the ground in a scramble. Gaethje will stuff a takedown, and Oliveira will find his way onto the back and get the back of Justin Gaethje and choke him out in the first round via rear naked choke. And I called it perfectly. I didn't have the best night of predictions overall because there was a ton of robberies on this card and a ton of fights that just made me not want to be a fan of the sport anymore. Let's not even get started on Namajunas versus Esparza 2. But, wow. What a way to finish the card. This card was looking, other than Chandler's, we'll get to that in another video. Other than what Chandler, oh no, I forgot about Tony Ferguson. But whatever. The rest of the card was stinky, okay? And that is a perfect way to finish it. Charles Oliveira finishes Justin Gaethje quicker than Khabib did. Beats him at his own game as well. Who's dropping Justin Gaethje with straight right hands? Oliveira is. Choking him out in the first round, not the second, Khabib. Choking out Dustin Poirier quicker than you did, okay? Craziness. This Oliveira guy is one of my favourite fighters I think he's entered the list. I think he's one of my favourite fighters to watch in the sport. Luque was in there. Piotr Jan was in there. They've let me down in their last performances. Not just because they lost, but because it wasn't the most entertaining of performance anyway, even in a loss. Oliveira is in the mix now. He really is in the mix. Charles Oliveira is one of the most entertaining fighters in the history of the sport. Other than this Tony Ferguson bout, which still had his moments, and if Tony Ferguson tapped to the armbar in round 1, we wouldn't even be talking about that being a boring contest. It would be another amazing performance by Charles Oliveira. He constantly has these amazing fights, and the energy that he brings in there is that of a hitman. Cold-blooded, nothing going on. Like, he's just had the belt stripped away from him. He's worked for it his entire life. He had the belt stripped from him because he thought he made weight and the scales were off backstage by 0.5 pounds. And a lot of fighters backstage proved that as well. Not just Brazilian fighters. Matt Schnell came out and talked about it. Someone from Casey O'Neill's team came out and talked about it. Macy Chasson came out and talked about it as well. The scales backstage were off. Charles Oliveira gets the belt stripped from him because of it. And doesn't let it bother him at all. And Gaethje got caught up being the tough guy, taking all the shots, and you just can't take those shots against Olives. He's powerful on the feet. He doesn't fear if you want to take him down. He has that invincibility mindset where who cares if you want to take me down, I'll sub you. And I think that is the reason that he beats Khabib. And that he beats Makhachev. And that he beats McGregor, who he called out. And that he beats Dariush. And that he beats Volkanovski. He does whatever he wants. If you rock him, you can't follow him to the ground. You can't. It's not the game plan. Stand him back up. He gets time to recover, resets the fight completely. Now, eventually, that's not going to work out for him. I do understand. Okay? Eventually, you can't keep getting dropped every fight. You know what I mean? However, he has an invincible mindset to where he doesn't fear anything. And I genuinely believe this is the type of guy to go out there against Khabib and where every other opponent is on the back foot like Justin Gaethje at Abu Dhabi. Like, do I throw? Do I leg kick? What do I do? He is the type of guy to rush across the cage, jumping front kick Khabib in the face, spinning back kick him afterwards, get him in a single collar and blast knees to the body and wear on that gas tank. Charles Oliveira is that fucking guy. Crazy. He saps the energy of all of his opponents with that body work. Front kicks to the body. He's only getting better. Straight right hand down the pipe on Justin Gaethje after being rocked and finishes him off. He's having better performances against better opponents, one after the other. Craziness, man. This guy is on a different level. I've been on the Olives train for a little while now. I wasn't on it at first because I was like, it's Jared Gordon. It's David Tamer. You know what I mean? It's, whoever else he beat. Oh, it's Jim Miller's over it. Yeah, you redeemed your loss to Jim Miller. Oh, you beat Nick Lentz? Cool. But then you start beating Tony Ferguson. And then you go out there and you beat Michael Chandler. Then you go out there and you take out Poirier. Then you take out Gaethje. And you're doing it in better fashion than Khabib did. In more exciting fashion than Khabib did. In more dominant fashion than Khabib did. Khabib lost the first round to Gaethje on 2 judges' scorecards. I don't agree with that. But it technically happened. Khabib almost got finished by Oliveira in a guillotine. Khabib almost got finished by Poirier in a guillotine. Both guys got rocked by Poirier on the feet. Khabib got wobbled and went backwards. Didn't get dropped, of course. But that's the difference between the two of them. Oliveira gets that guillotine on Khabib. It's problems. It probably is over. Like, this guy is genuinely one of the best fighters I've ever seen in sport. His chin is his only problem. But even then, like, he just recovers immediately and goes right back into termination mode. And he can hit back just as hard. So it's not like he has a glass chin like James Vick and just can't do anything back to you anyway, so he's just a fucking punching bag to get KO'd. He's got a chin where he can be rocked, he can be dropped, but he can light you out as well. He can put you out bad, choke you out easily afterwards. He's a complete MMA fighter, and he's only improving. And I think, actually, him having his belt stripped away is the worst thing that could have happened to these lightweight contenders. The best case scenario to beat Charles Oliveira is to see him as a champion defending his belt that might be getting a little bit too content with defending his belt. He ain't got a belt no more. He's back in the hunt mode of his career. I'm still trying to get my belt back. I'm going to try and be a champion again. This isn't like, I've done it, I'm defending my belt, next defense, boring, next defense. This is, everything's been taken from me. I'm aiming to get it all back again. And the hunger is going to be completely replenished for him. And I think he's going to make rapid improvements. He wants to fight McGregor next. I don't know if that's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, though. That's the sad thing. Makhachev's calling him out like no one cares. Makhachev's going to fight Dariush. Chandler's going to fight Poirier. They could do Chandler McGregor at 170. But I reckon after hearing that call out, the UFC are going to themselves, well, Makhachev's going to have to fight Dariush. You know what I'm saying? That was the scheduled fight. You can't get a title shot by beating Bobby Green. You also can't get a title shot by losing. But when you bring the millions of pay-per-views that McGregor does, and Oliveira's now got, 2.6 million Instagram followers, 2.5 million. He's a superstar now. He was the #1 trending topic in Brazil. It's a massive country with a big population. #1 trending. Charles Oliveira's name. After the weight mishap that was on this weekend. He's a superstar. And it's Conor versus Brazil, and I bet you they make it. I don't want them to. I'd rather see Oliveira Makhachev now, and I think Makhachev would lose. I think Oliveira would take it to him, beat him up on the feet. I don't think Makhachev has the chance to put down Oliveira on the feet, and I think Makhachev would shoot a bad shot while being hurt by a punch and get guillotined in the first round. But Conor McGregor Oliveira is what they're going to do, I reckon. It's sad, but I can really see it happening if both parties want it. And honestly, for the chance of the pay-per-views, the UFC are going to want it as well. Craziness. I called it perfectly. I didn't doubt my boy Olives after the weight scale mishap or whatever happened there. He's just unstoppable. Unstoppable. And that was the worst case scenario. And he takes out Gaethje in 1 round. That is the worst build-up to a fight. You're a champion. You've worked your whole life for something from the favelas of Brazil. You think you've made weight, the scales are off backstage, and you come out to make weight and it's off, and you get your title stripped from you. And you're still there draining, cutting weight while your opponent, Justin Gaethje, is replenishing himself, rehydrating. 3 hours after, you're still there trying to make weight. And you take an hour to cut extra weight, and you come back and you don't weigh a pound less. You don't weigh a 0.1 of a pound less. The same weight. Crushed. They strip you of your belt. You're not a champion anymore in the build-up to this fight. And he still goes out there and finishes Gaethje in the first round. Madness. I'm a big fan. One of the most exciting fighters of all time. We're in the Olive era, and I don't see anyone beating him. Volk is the best fighter outside of Olives. I want to see that at some point. If Volk beats Holloway in July, defends again, Oliveira beats someone, whoever it'll be, maybe they do the McGregor fight. I don't want it to happen, but if he then beats a Makhachev and there's no clear-cut contenders after that, I want to see Oliveira Volkanovski for the true best fighter we've ever seen. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.